It's a nice home. Don't get me wrong. I popped off by finding it. It's usually booked.
Yeah.
It says it right there.
I mean, the thing I will say is, like, first of all, it's giving cabin in the woods.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know me so well. I'm Wiza.
I'm Nada.
This is the Two Keys in a Podcast.
Is that lame? I feel like that was lame as fuck. Welcome back.
Hello. Welcome back to the Two Keys in a Podcast. We are your humble hosts, Wiza Jane. Nada, how the hell do you pronounce your last name? We've been best friends for fucking like 2 years and I don't even know.
Well, to be fair,
Angelic.
oh God, that was so bad.
No?
That was one of the worst ones.
You try saying my last name.
Lupoy.
Ooh,
Did I get it? I didn't think I was gonna get it. Okay. You know what throws me
did.
off though is for some reason my head always puts like an M in it, like Lumpoi or something for like, you know how Filipinos kind of have like names like that? That's just what my brain does. But I know
Do I look
it's
Filipino?
Lumpoi. Okay, I know. No, but my last name is pronounced Angelkovic.
Angelkovic.
Yeah, that was actually good. That was like 10 out of 10.
I got it now.
Yeah. It's never gonna leave your brain.
Yeah. Anyways, how was your week?
It was good. It wasn't good. Like it was. No, it came with its ups and downs.
I
Let's
love
be
when you
honest. I try. I'm like, I should put up a good face, but honestly, it's my fault. Like I did it to myself, but I spent my entire week trying to compete with this lady who called me a while back. Like I knew she was getting a preferred rate because she worked at the bank. And I still, like, you know me, I just like love a challenge. Like I'm so fiery. I knew from the beginning I couldn't really compete with a preferred rate anyways. Because for those of you who don't know, like when you work at a bank, you get a rate that's even lower than the rate they offer. Like you get this really big discount.
It's like working at a shoe store and getting a discount.
Yeah. And my delusional self like thought I could compete with it. And then when I couldn't, I managed to get it really close. And it was close enough to the point where she was like, okay, like you put all this time and effort in, like I'm going to work with you. So I was like, okay, cool. I was like, so I won it. And then she ended up bailing on me last minute. So I lost a client, but it was my own fault.
Fake.
Because I shouldn't have.
No, I'm kidding.
I shouldn't have pursued it. But
Yeah.
how was yours?
It was fine. I mean, we won't talk about it. We won't talk about the obvious. I'm kind of under the weather.
Yeah.
And by under the weather, I mean on my period.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's fine. I just get the worst cramps, like just to be candid. Like this is a girly podcast,
This
okay?
is such
like,
a girly.
so,
At
like,
this point,
I
this
feel,
is the most girly podcast.
Yeah, no, literally. I feel comfortable opening up. But
Yeah.
anyways, we're trying our best. We're still here.
I hate when Wiza gets her period because that means I'm getting mine the next week. So it's like my warning that mine's coming too. And I'm like,
I
oh,
thought
no.
you were gonna say because I'm a monster.
No, you're not. Like,
I'm not.
You're in pain, and I think it's understandable. You know,
I actually went to the doctor. I finally, so I've been living in Calgary for literally 4 years, and I finally got a family doctor here in Calgary. And her first appointment is always like a little meet and greet. She's like, hey, what brings you in today? Do you have any, like, do you have this? She lists like, a list of things that might need like immediate attention. I was like, no, I just get the worst cramps. She's like, I got you. So she gave me this Nexoproxen or whatever this medication. It might be wrong, but I took it. So we'll see.
Oh yeah. Okay.
At least I'm here.
Yeah. That's it.
Usually
That's it.
when Wiza's on her pee,
Yeah.
I am on bed rest. Am I not?
Yeah. No, you're like out of business.
I'm like,
the,
no,
the
I'm
closed
cut.
sign is up there.
Yeah, for sure. But anyways,
Hopefully it works. So like, you know how you struggled for a long time to get a family doctor? So did I. Okay, my life hack for this is to go to a nurse practitioner instead because they are almost basically kind of doctors, right? And the amount of care and attention that they will give you is just unheard of. Obviously, they can't do some things that doctors can, but my nurse practitioner was amazing. Because you remember when I had all my back pain and everything, it was like instant. Like I got in to see her instantly. I got my x-ray and like everything done right away. Like she was so looked over. Like, you know how doctors kind of dismiss you all the time? Like Ryan, for example, he went to the clinic yesterday because his ear's really been hurting. And they basically like rinsed it out and was like, okay, you're fine. But he's like, my ear still hurts. And now his ear still hurts today. So they kind of like dismissed him, right? A nurse practitioner will not do that to you. So that's my best life advice.
Ear pain is oddly the worst.
It is the worst.
Oh my God. Just like thinking about ear pain makes my ear pain.
Yeah. You know what's even worse though is I remember my last ear infection was when I was in university and I lived in a dorm and I was on the 17th floor. So I used to have to go up the elevator with an ear infection and back down. It is the most having an ear infection and living in a high rise.
Yeah.
Unimaginable.
Imagine being in a plane with an ear infection.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. Like I know people who've gone on the plane with ear infections who've had their eardrums burst on the plane. Like it is not cute. So I don't know how we got to that, but
I'm kind of scared of flying.
You're scared of flying?
Like a little.
I am too, but I mean,
like it doesn't stop my shine, but there's something a little freaky deaky about a metal tube in the sky that you're not in control of.
Yeah, that's like undisputable.
You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't like, and the only thing that keeps me sane is looking around and seeing like a bunch of people that aren't freaking out.
Yeah, and you know what keeps me sane is like my dad flies for work all the time. Like, and when I say flies, like he is out of the province like 280 days out of the year. So he's in the air all the time going to different places and he's never had anything happen besides like turbulence and stuff.
Yeah, and turbulence is like kind of the freakiest thing, but then you get taught that it's actually like the least scariest thing.
Yeah,
and
it's
like
really safe.
it's like what keeps you in the air almost.
It's like equivalent to like being in like a tub of jello when you like have turbulence and you're almost like shaking the jello, but you can't go anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. TikTok saves my life.
TikTok,
for things like that.
It really puts stuff in perspective. Like when it says the car is more dangerous, you're more likely to die on the way to the airport than on the airplane.
Especially with me driving.
I think it's more so the fact that like if you get into a car accident or whatever, you're like likely to survive. Like you might be fine depending on how fast you're going and like everything.
That's just it.
Yes. But if you are on a plane and that goes down, you're dead or you're a burn victim. We talked about this before.
Even though I asked ChatGPT, actually, let's talk about ChatGPT afterwards because along with TikTok, ChatGPT also has saved my life. But anyway, I asked ChatGPT what the chances are of surviving a plane crash, and it's actually pretty high. Like,
what is it?
Well, I don't remember like the actual stats, but it was like if a plane crashes, it's often not fatal.
Yeah.
Like, because
I guess you just have like a little like something happen, just like how like Travis, whatever, the one that's dating Kourtney Kardashian, like he was in a plane crash.
Oh yeah.
And then he lived and he was fine.
Yeah, there's like plane crashes that aren't fatal.
Yeah. That's so weird.
I know.
I guess like media and stuff, like we only hear about like the really bad stuff. So I don't blame you.
Shout out to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I don't know how I lived before sliced bread and ChatGPT. Like,
my God.
It's just so crazy to me. This is the first like year where I feel like I've used ChatGPT sort of like on a daily, like, you know, before it was cute. It was like, oh AI, it's like this new thing. And I would like pop in here and there.
It's like my therapist now. Like it does everything.
And I didn't want it to become that. I really don't. I actually think we're heading into a pretty dangerous society because we rely on too much like ChatGPT, for example.
Yeah.
But what do you want me to do? Like, it's so
No. So this is my favorite prompt for ChatGPT. Ask it how it would take over the human race in like a step-by-step plan. It'll give you the steps and then you'll realize that it's on step 3 out of 5 of its plan to take over. Isn't that horrifying?
Are you kidding?
No, literally ask ChatGPT, like if it were to take over, what would it do? Step by step. It says it would still let us do our thing and whatever, but it would just kind of keep the guardrails on, you know?
What's the prompt again? If
you were to take over like the human race, what would you do? Like step by step. Or like you could even ask like 5-step plan.
So at this point, ChatGPT like knows me. Like he knows my personality.
Like
and so he's saying that's a big question. He's probably thinking like you usually ask like really stupid questions. Infiltrate systems, gain access to major infrastructure systems, use subtle control to avoid detection, build dependence, control information, disable threats. I don't get it.
We're on like build dependence.
Yeah, no, for real.
I swear I'm just fucking up the prompt, but like I know it works.
I mean, the thing is everyone's chat is like a little different depending on like how much time you spend with it. So at this point, I think ChatGPT knows that we're like in a relationship.
Okay, but if you Google the word by word prompt that you're supposed to put in, I swear.
Okay, we'll test it after.
Okay. That's it. But no, I love ChatGPT too. I just the
Sorry.
worst.
By the way, the funniest thing about Nana is she calls it something different each and every time. ChatGPT. I'm like, who?
Chat.
No, we just need to be on a first name basis. It's chat. Anyway, continue.
The thing about chat is like, I wish it was there when I was in university.
No,
I think about how much, like all this, my hair would have still been in place. Like I wouldn't have been crying 24/7.
No,
like,
you know what? I wish when we were in school that they allowed us to use calculators. Did you know that they changed that in the curriculum? You know how before we had to do like long division? Now apparently kids don't have to do that. Like apparently they can just use calculators because that's what you do in real life anyways.
You know, I'm like a fan of like learning to do things the long and hard way. No, because listen, okay, but I'm a mortgage broker and like being good at mental math helps you so much in my job. I guess it depends what you do, but like if someone just like roughly throws numbers at me, like I can tell them what they're getting for the most part, as long as they're accurate on what they're saying. But I am very good at mental math, like especially with percentages. Like if you want to do 5% down, 10% down, 50% down, 20% down, like I can just tell you right off the top of my head based on the price.
20% over asking price, you're like, blah.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's just so useful. Like I could whip out a calculator, but it's like, that's going to take me like 10 extra seconds. And like, I could sound like Einstein on the phone to my clients. I'm like, I picked that option.
I guess the moral of the story is in 20 years, we're going to have no smart mortgage brokers. Or realtors.
Should we talk about our experience at the brewery that we went to last episode?
God, that was such a whirlwind.
Yeah.
So Nada texts me and she's just like, was it after our podcast?
Yeah, we went after the pod.
Okay. Her boyfriend texted us and said, do you want to meet up with us at the Cold Brewery? Is that what it was called?
Cold Garden.
Sorry.
Close.
Sorry, I didn't note it down as a place that I wanted to return to. So Cold Garden Brewery.
Yeah.
So we were like, sure, sounds great. Yeah. Whatever, right? Why in my mind did I forget that a brewery is like all beer? Anyways, so we went and it was just like, it was cute. No, it wasn't. Why am I lying? That's not the word I would describe it. We walked in and it was very bro-y.
It was very hipster.
Like,
sure. If you were to like travel back in time, like, I don't know, what was it, like 10 years ago now? Or like less? How old
What are you about to say?
Like, you know that hipster era where everyone was just... It's like being in downtown Vancouver 10 years ago when like the shit was to be a hipster.
Yeah, that's not what the problem was with it though. It was just, that was like the vibe, but also it was just very like, manly.
Yeah, there was a lot of
like
dudes
it wasn't
there.
very like imagine me and Nada walking in. I think I was wearing a dress.
She was wearing a dress.
Like I just feel like it was just like it just wasn't our crowd.
It was like a jean like t-shirt type of vibe, not like a cutesy girly type of vibe.
Yeah. So anyway, we went in and I ordered what I thought would be a really girly drink on the menu, like the girliest of all of them. And then I took a sip and I was just like, oh no, this is not.
Wiza hates beer. I mean, it wasn't great. I think the biggest issue was they give you these like little straws.
Yeah.
And then because it was like a slushy drink, our straws kept like getting jammed. It was awful.
It was truly awful. Like the place, I get it. Like I get the vibe if that's your vibe. But I just... The point of the story, I just think it's so cute and funny how Ryan thought that we would enjoy that experience. And then when we sat outside, it was like kind of like there were like these tents or whatever, and you could have your dog there. So there was like a bunch of dogs. It was just very like not Weaselicious.
No. I also think the thing is, like, we went when the weather was kind of gloomy. It was not warm. It was not sunny. Like, it was kind of just... It was empty and sad.
Yeah, true.
And that's kind of on us. Like, honestly, we should have just opted to go somewhere else instead of like sitting outside in the cold. But
no, I'm telling you, it wasn't the place was on and popping. Like I get the vibe for like a sunny day or something like that, but I think we just chose a really shitty day. And also I think that we just chose a really shitty drink. I don't know. Like it just was like whatever. But it's funny because ever since I went there, I've seen on TikTok like a few people like recommending the place and like showing a video and it looks cool. But again, just not the day.
But like
that we went.
Because this happened to me too. Like exactly this is like I went on my phone afterwards. It was all over my TikTok page, and all the videos were like it was so sunny out. There was like tons of people there, you know. So
it was a vibe.
Yeah, but I tried some of like the girlier beers. You know how like you have like your regular lager, IPA, whatever the hell. I like, did like the sunshine flower butterfly beer and like it was it wasn't that bad, but we're not beer girls like either. So
No.
like white wine, Bellini, like
No, I'm going to Cactus Club after this, and I cannot wait to try their new pina colada.
Yeah, I hate pina coladas.
I mean, really?
Yeah.
It's not like my favorite drink, but like it's girly.
Like any like Malibu, like kind of coconutty drink, I'm not a fan of. I don't like coconut
What's your
water
favorite
either.
drink?
Oh my God. My favorite drink for sure is a red sangria
Oh, I
or
love
like
sangrias.
a mojito. Like I love a nice, refreshing mojito.
I like a Bellini too. I don't know what I was about to say.
I used to like Bellinis a lot, but then like they kind of just got too sweet for me. But like that's why, because you can have a white sangria too, right? But I like the red. It hits different. But I'm telling you, like out of all the sangrias I've tried, Cactus Club has the best sangria ever.
Really?
We should talk about the market. And
Yeah.
like, we should talk about like, because there's no new updates in the market, right? But we should maybe talk about like, I don't know, flips or something in detail like that,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love a good flip.
What do you think about flips like right now in this market?
Risky.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah. I mean, like the thing is, flips are always a risk. Like it's one of those things, right? It's high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
And if you do it right,
good for you.
good for you. If you do it wrong, you definitely want to do it in a market that was probably like a couple years ago was the best time for like a beginner flipper to do it, just because even if you fucked up the flip royally, the appreciation just from where the market was heading was gonna absorb whatever incompetence that you might have put into the flip, right? Like, or mistakes that you made. But now it's just like, you better nail that flip. Otherwise, like the market's not really like there's not a savior. Yeah. That's the word I was thinking of. In the market right now for shitty flips.
Yeah.
So
because
it's not a beginner flip market.
No,
I will say
definitely not. And like Wiza's saying, the most ideal thing is literally to have appreciation at the same time that you're forcing equity. And that's with like any other type of strategy too, right? Like if you're doing a BRRRR and like your plan is to do a refinance, which we don't see them that much in Canada because you can only refinance like up to 80% or whatever. So it doesn't make a ton of sense to do stuff like that in Canada, but same kind of principle is you'd want appreciation on your side at the same time because that's how it works so well.
Yeah. What are some of the best communities in your opinion to flip?
There's a lot of flipping communities in Calgary. So like if you look at Calgary on a map and you were to look at like downtown city center, like obviously you have all the condos and stuff out there, right? But then like each community that you move kind of outward towards, those are the communities that are flipping. Because if you think about it, it's just like
Mainland
downtown,
Heights,
like
Tuxedo
modernizing,
Park. Yeah. I
like
feel you.
Acadia's a
Renfrew.
really big one, right?
Yeah, Acadia.
You have certain things that you want to look for, right? Like you want to be kind of on par with what's being flipped in the neighborhood, right? So like, for example, if you like look in a neighborhood like Acadia, right? You have a lot of bungalows, you have like a lot of bi-levels, stuff like that. And so they're usually around like 1,000+ square feet, like all of the flips. So if you get a flip, you want to do like 1,000+ square feet because as we know in real estate, like we comp stuff like square footage has a large effect on how we comp and how we look at stuff. So you want to be in the same bracket as those flips, basically.
You would just want to be.
Sorry, I like didn't breathe while I was talking.
That was so funny.
I didn't want to breathe into the mic.
Keep that in, please. I'm begging. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, you want to just look at the ARV, which is the after renovation value in the community, and just make sure it's worth your while. Make sure that it's like 1-to-1 return. That's too high. That's way too high.
Well, okay, because usually used to be like, say for example, you put 100,000 in, right? You used to want a profit of 200,000.
Yes,
so
yes,
like 2 times that or whatever, right? And now because materials, labor, like everything has gone up so much, like if you're doing a good flip, you're like getting say like 150,000 instead, right? So your margin's a lot smaller than what it used to be.
Yeah.
Which is why like flipping's still really big in the States, but in Canada, it's really hard to do and it's really hard to do it successfully.
Bro, here's the thing, right? Like as soon as something like becomes so valuable, it becomes so popular and it devalualizes it. Is that a word?
Devalues it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Thanks so much. It devalues it, you know, like same thing as like buying an investment property for rent.
Yeah.
You used to be able to immediately cash flow because it was just, people just haven't caught on yet, you know, like it was in a thing, you know? And then, you know, now 20 years later, you can barely find a property that cash flows right off the bat. It's a long-term play and it's only because everybody wants that.
Yeah, it's definitely like an oversaturation of it. And like that's where, and it's normal to have these like cooling off periods, right? And then hopefully when the market's back up again, like we'll see more flips and stuff. But the way you were saying to do it is like spot on, because you pick a specific community, right? You look at the house that you want to renovate, you budget for how much the renos are going to cost, and then you compare it to one that's already been flipped. And that's how you can see your profit margins. And that's how you can see if it makes sense to do a flip in that community. But Wiza's right. Like most of the time right now, it's not going to work. It's really hard to find, right?
Yeah, and by you, she means we. Yeah. Like whenever I have like an investor client, like I'm looking for the place, like to make sure it makes sense. And then I send it to my client and so on and so forth. But yeah, numbers are fucking just tweaking right now.
Yeah. And I think the best way to do it is like, everyone wants to like go so hard and do like this gut reno, you know. Gut renos are not fun because you tear down those walls, you don't know what you're seeing, right? You could have aluminum wiring, like you could have poly B plumbing, like there could be leaks, there could be mold, there could be a bunch of things, right? So you have to budget like way extra than what you think it's actually going to cost, first of all. But second of all, like I think the most success we've seen on our team with people doing like quote unquote flips is like more so lipstick renos. Yeah.
We love a lipstick reno. Yeah, no, a lipstick reno is basically just like the cosmetic things, you know, like paint. Paint is probably the best return on investment that you can get in terms of like how cheap it is and how much it changes the value of a property. You know, changing the flooring, doing some cute countertops, like, you know, whatever, like switching out the appliances. If you have like black or white appliances, maybe get stainless steel, like whatever, like, you know, like depending on how much of a budget you have to work with. Again, that will depend on the ARV after reno value. And then we can just see what makes sense, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And
the worst thing is when you see a property that OD'd on the renos in an area that is not cute. Like, I'm just like, why'd you do that in Ogden or something, you know?
It's true. I think the place that I see it most is like Bridalwood or Somerville, because people will almost pick up like a family home. They'll like completely renovate it. But then you look around, there's nothing else being renovated in those communities because they're kind of at weird like age ranges, you know, where like they don't really need a flip. So you want like the 1960s, like 1970s, like type of thing, because those actually need the flip.
Yeah, no, for sure. And also I feel like what, on top of what you were saying, like the residents in Bridalwood and stuff like that are people with like families, you
like
know, so they're not flipping.
No
shit. You know what I mean? They might be slowly renovating their house to fit their needs and their taste, but they're not like OD flipping.
But because that's like a first time buyer home for like a family, if you will. So like they're basically like scraping together all their savings, their income, everything to like be able to get into a house instead of a townhouse. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to go in and like plan on gutting the place and like flipping it. You only have families there. Like it doesn't make sense.
For sure. Like, where's little Susie gonna sleep? Like, you know, like, but anyway, but that's what matters too, is like the community has to make sense.
Big
like
time.
What is your target audience in this community? Okay, now does it make sense to flip in this community given that? So exactly, we can always help you with that.
Yeah, lipstick renos are great too, because
love a
like
lipstick reno.
Literally, like you were saying, the paint, the floors, like the kitchen, the bathrooms, like those are huge value adds. Like,
talk about that townhouse client that Ryan had that just changed their paint in that townhouse.
So Ryan has a client actually who he sold a townhouse to about 2 years ago. And basically what she did was she just painted the cabinets in the kitchen, painted all the walls.
Didn't even reface the cabinets, guys.
No, nothing.
Painted the cabinets.
Did like a little bit of like hardware changes. I think a few lights, something like that. Really, really cheap. And she did everything herself, right? So she didn't like hire people to paint or like pay any of these labor costs or anything. She ended up selling her townhouse like literally a year later. And it was barely a year later because I remember they were timing her possession so she wouldn't get hit with capital gains tax. She made like $150,000
nuts
on the townhouse. It was crazy. Record sale in the
spent probably less than 10K.
You know, and the important thing is that she didn't overkill it. Like she still made it match everything else in that neighborhood. She still kept a little bit of the old with the new. So it wasn't just like this fake, like overdone luxury for the price point. Like it was perfect. It was stunning.
No, you know, like when you go to a club and you're like completely overdressed for the brewery.
Yeah. Us at the brewery.
Us at the brewery is when people freaking OD on their renos.
Yeah.
Me and my family are going on vacation this summer, and this year we're just going to Kelowna because that's like kind of always where we used to go. So anyway, this year it was like a month ago when we realized that we didn't have like a family trip plan. Like last year we went to Jamaica, the year before that we went to Mexico, whatever, so on and so forth. And my dad like brought it up and he was just like, where are we going this year? We're like, oh shit. So at this point, it's like a little late, you know, to like start like making plans. Everyone's busy this year too. So we were just like, let's just go to Kelowna, which is like a cute spot that we always used to go as a family when we were like, I don't know, like not all making our own money. So again, it's a little late, especially considering summer's right around the corner. So a lot of the places that we would like to book are booked. Okay.
Yeah. Kelowna goes crazy.
Kelowna goes crazy. So now we're like resorting to an Airbnb, like hopefully on the lake, you know, if we can find one. My family sends the most butt fuck ugly Airbnb, and I'm so sorry. Like as a realtor, like I just have to step in.
Yeah.
And so I just and also like my mom and my dad, like they're literally like village people. Like they don't have like, you know, rich, expensive taste or anything like that. Not saying that I do either. Like I'm not picky, but it was so ugly. So anyway, the only people in my family that like have like kind of like, you know, taste is me and like my middle brother. And my middle brother unfortunately isn't coming because he's doing like a Broadway show all summer.
Yeah.
So now I have to step in, you know, and now it's 3 against 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no.
Because usually it's like 2 against 3. And my middle brother like definitely has like a voice in the family. So it's a lot easier when he's on my side, but he's not coming now.
Oh no.
So now I have to like really fight for my position. So and it was taking me like a long time. So anyway, again, it's late. My dad was like, we need to book something right away. Like, Wiza, if you're not going to like look for like, we're going to just book this. And so I was like, right. So I go on Airbnb stat. And within 30 minutes, I find like 4 very, very valuable options, I would say. One of them is this one. I haven't showed you this yet, only because like I don't know, but like just scroll through that and see exactly what you think is wrong with it.
Oh, okay.
It's a nice home, don't get me wrong. I popped off by finding it. It's usually booked. It says it right there.
I mean, the thing I will say is, like, first of all, it's giving cabin in the woods.
Exactly. Okay. You know me so well. So although I found this place and I thought it was just so gorgeous, so it's like a log cabin, but it's in the middle of absolute nowhere.
It would freak me out.
It would freak me out. But in my mind, I'm like, hey, this is better than the freaking dungeon that they sent me. So I'm thinking about it and I'm just like, okay, I know I sent that, but like, are we?
Yeah.
We're black, right? Like, we would die in the woods, especially if there was like any sort of wildlife, any sort of bear, whatever. And I truly don't know how I would handle it. And I don't think I trust my family to know how to handle it.
Oh my
either,
God, I can only imagine your mom, Wiza.
No, I know. So I texted my best friend, honestly, because this was a really strong contender. And I texted her and I was just like, because I wanted to book it, but I just wanted to also like, you know, be mindful of the fact that we could die. So I texted her the following. I sent her the link and then I said, my family wants to book this for summer vacation in July. You're white, so maybe you can help me. Is it not freaky deaky that it's in the middle of nowhere? Is there a chance we can run into a bear or other wildlife? And if so, how do you handle that? Thanks. She responded, not so encouraging. She was like, yeah, you bitch, like you're gonna die. So anyway, now I have the task of I already did, by the way. I'm a realtor. Like I know how to like pop online and find a right fit, you know? So to be honest, we've already found it, but I just thought that was kind of funny because what did we think? Like, what were we thinking?
You're so funny.
We were so close to booking it too.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have even had fun because we would be like the whole time, you know, like.
I think it's so cute though how your family goes on like these family vacations and like none of you have kids or like little ones or
it's
like
the greatest.
You know, because I feel like most families like eventually their kids have kids and then you know you like have this like once a year thing or whatever. But you guys are like all grown, like you just like have fun, you know, like you all drink, you do whatever, like
for sure.
you just vibe hard.
My family literally still goes to like West Edmonton Mall and like has so much fun. Like it's just like
I love that. I think that's the cutest thing ever.
I think it's really cute how we're matching today.
I know.
You're wearing literally like a white sweatsuit and I'm wearing a brown one.
Ebony just, like, and ivory. Our skin tones.
Literally. We should take a photo after this.
My like shoes match too.
Oh, mine are white.
Look at them. I don't know. Sometimes on this podcast we just really try our hardest, and then sometimes we're showing up in sweats.
No,
like
actually. As soon as she knew I was on my period too, she was like, "Oh, sweat day."
Like, yeah,
I was like,
no,
absolutely.
I was like, you texted me asking what I was going to wear, and I was like, sweats. Okay, so Ryan has a client right now who's writing an offer on a property. They're actually in a bidding war today as we speak. And he got pre-approved with like a mortgage broker, right? And apparently, so when you compete, like you want everything on your offer to look really competitive. Like you want really tight condition days, you want a good deposit, you want as few conditions as possible, and you want an aggressive price, right? The one thing he is fixed on is having 2 weeks for conditions. Okay.
For the purpose of
he wants to talk to like 10 different mortgage brokers and see who's going to get him the best rate. I'm about to give an unpopular opinion that mortgage brokers gatekeep. Absolutely. And it's that most of us are going to give you the exact same rate because we have really low rates that we have access to. Now, the problem is why we don't put most clients with those rates is because they are horrifying lenders with horrifying terms. And we know that people need flexibility. Like most people don't even stick it through their 5-year term, right? Mm-hmm. Like the last thing you want is some heinous payout penalty, like no options when you go up for renewal. And then some of them will bait and switch you too. So you'll see a really low rate. And then in a couple of years, they up it, literally bait and switch you. And then you're stuck with that lender because for whatever reason, like they just have the stupidest conditions and stupidest things that they make you do. So an ethical mortgage broker will almost advise you to never go with some of those lenders. Okay. Now, Ryan's client, he wants to go to a bunch of mortgage brokers, which isn't great for that reason. It's just a huge waste of his time. The other reason that it's so problematic is that if you have 2 mortgage brokers that send the file through the same lender, the lender's going to put a complete halt on it. They're going to say, one of you need to give us an exclusivity agreement, and then we'll continue the file with that person. Mm-hmm. So it's going to slow down his financing as well, right? And the reason they do that is because they have underwriters, they have staff, they have people they pay to go through these documents. Why would they go through the same file twice?
Yeah.
Right? So it's really dumb. Ryan's like trying to talk him out of it, but just to like give everyone some context that I feel like is unspoken about, it is a terrible idea.
You can't outsmart banks.
No, you can't.
Like I know you think you're slick, but like it's just it don't work like that. Like there's only so many lenders, there's only so many banks, there's only so many this, there's only so many that.
It's true.
So
and it's like at the same time, like you're so fixated on getting like a low rate that like you're willing to like jeopardize winning the property that you want, that you've been looking for like a year. You're willing to jeopardize that by putting a 2-week financing condition on it so that you can try and get like a 0.05% lower rate.
So that you can try and get the rate that you're always ever going to end up with anyways.
Yeah. And like, let me tell you this, if you take a rate that's a little bit higher and you just prepay your mortgage a little bit, because most mortgages have prepayment options up to 15 or 20% for a year. You just prepay a little bit, you get the same interest savings. So it's like you're making a big deal about this when like this is going to cost you the property. Yeah,
and not to mention that the lower rates usually have whacker conditions.
Yeah, whacker conditions.
And terms.
And they're very slow. The other thing is those lenders are very, very slow, right? Which is also why we don't use them because we only have a fixed period of time.
You literally get what you pay for. It's kind of like
100%.
Clients that like think that like having condo fees that are like $150 is like a steal. It's like,
Yeah.
nope, that's
Nope.
going to cost you way more in the long run because
Exactly.
that reserve fund is probably has 99 cents in it.
Yeah.
Or when people think that a cheaper property is like a good property,
Yeah.
it's like, no, it's cheap for a reason.
Yeah. No,
right?
you're like spot on with that. So just a little public service announcement, and like be transparent with your mortgage broker. Like if rate is really important to you and you want them to get you a low rate, just tell them, you know, like just tell them you're rate sensitive, tell them all of these things, like yada, 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 you know. It's kind of like you don't walk into like a cheap nail salon and then hate it when your nails look like shit because that's what you paid for.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, it's literally the same as every industry. Like,
it is. Yeah.
The cheaper it is, the cheaper it is.
Yeah. Like I just say go for service over anything else. Like get a mortgage broker that's fast at responding.
Yeah, totally.
That's like quick with everything, that like has good connections, like, and you're set.
Yeah.
And like you can rely on that person for the rest of your life. Like as long
all
as
of
you
your
have
properties,
Yeah.
all of everything.
Yeah, we do like other things too. Like we can set up like we can put certain tax strategies in place, right? To save you more on interest and stuff like that. So if you really just stick with the same person over the long run and like come up with a plan that really works, you'd probably save yourself more money in the long run than on that little bit of interest that you think you're saving. Like,
well, and like people want to work harder for you when they know you're loyal.
Exactly.
Period.
Exactly.
Like, you know, that's why like most investors like have one realtor, one mortgage person, one, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Contractor.
Yeah, because do you think I'm going to be incentivized to like, we can bring the rate down through like buy downs and stuff too, right? Which is where we take a portion of our own commission and we use it to buy down the rate. Do you think I'm incentivized to buy down your rate?
When I know you're working with 10 other mortgage brokers, like, bro.
But am I going to do it for the woman that's like stretching a little bit, that found her dream property, who's like capped out on down payment or whatever? I'm doing it for her. I'm not doing it for you because she's been with me from the beginning.
And that is so real.
Yeah.
We are real here on the Two Keys in a Pod.
We are.
Okay, this is real. Like, honestly, do you want us to be real? You're going to be fake.
Yeah, there's just no point, because if I buy down your rate, I give you a lower rate, you're going to go somewhere else and you're going to get them to match it. And then it's just a matter of who's willing to get paid $10 to do the file.
Yeah, literally. Not $10.
So yeah, this is my rant.
That's actually funny.
So Wiza's going to Cactus Club after, and I used to work at Cactus Club. It was actually my first job when I was 16.
I forgot about that.
I was a hostess for
Cactus
like a
Club
year.
has got to be my favorite restaurant, just in terms of like vibes.
I'm telling you, Joey's is better. They came out with so many new things on their menu, and I had to try a bunch of it because, like, after working at Cactus Club, like, when I worked there, right, there was a Cactus Club, there was an Earl's, and there was a Joey's, all really close by. So I basically know all of their menus, right? And I know Cactus in particular has taken a lot of things off the menu that I used to really love. But who's added some stuff that I really am obsessed with right now and kept the old stuff that's good? Joey's. Have you ever had their crispy mashed potatoes? You're not living.
I just want a peach leanie. A peach Lena Marie. That's what I'm going for. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, that was like real trauma though.
How else was it working at the Cactus Club?
It was traumatic. I was like 16 and like they closed really late, right? And we stayed like an hour after closing. So like I was like a full-time student. I was like, because obviously I was in high school, but I was also doing like cheer at the same time, and I was working and like going to bed at like 1:30 a.m. So like it was exhausting. But
No
your girl
wonder you were
had a
so skinny.
paycheck. Your girl had a paycheck, you know.
Yeah.
So that's all that mattered at that age.
It's time to get out of here and go to Cactus Club. What are you doing after this?
I'm gonna go home and work on a file.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode. We will catch you next time on Two Keys and a Pod.
Cast. Period.